Thompson, Illinois has been selected to be the prison in our state of Illinois, the land of Lincoln, to incarcerate detainees from Guantanamo Bay, as well as the site of a new federal prison that will be located in western Illinois.
And the winner is Thompson, Illinois. The Obama administration announcing today that although local officials in Hardin, Montana, and Marion, Illinois, and Standish, Michigan, and Florence, Colorado, had all said they would welcome the jobs and economic boost that would be expected from getting sent some new, very high-security federal prisoners, it is Thompson, Illinois that's going to get them. Thompson wants the prisoners because it has a giant $120 million prison facility sitting in their town, basically unused because the state hasn't been able to afford to open it. When that prison was built, the town was already prepped to accept more than 1,000 maximum security prisoners, and happy to do so because of the number of jobs the prison was expected to bring to the region. If the plan goes through, this new plan, the prison will be bought by the federal government. It will be remade into a super-duper maximum security facility. Some of the prison will then be run by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and the wing holding a few prisoners from Guantanamo will be run by the Pentagon. So Thompson, Illinois, and the surrounding region will finally get those jobs it has been expecting. The estimated economic benefit is roughly 3,000 jobs and roughly $1 billion in economic activity. The Thompson, Illinois village president, a man named Jerry Hebler, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name, Mr. Hebler, told the Associated Press today, quote, "It'll be good for the village and the surrounding area, especially with all the jobs that have been lost here." The town is psyched about this development. The state's governor requested to the White House that Guantanamo prisoners be moved there. The two senators from the state are in favor, which means, of course, cue the outrage.
I think the administration wasn't around for 9/11.
No, the president is young, but he's not 8. He's not 8 years old. He actually was around. The top Republican in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, also put out this statement today. Quote, "The administration has failed to explain how transferring terrorists to Guantanamo North will make Americans safer than keeping these terrorists off our shores in the secure facility of Cuba." The secure facility of Cuba. Guantanamo, right? Which John McCain, the Republican Party's presidential candidate last year, promised to close.
I believe we should close Guantanamo and work with our allies.
Also promising to close Guantanamo, another notorious softie.
I'd like to end Guantanamo. I'd like it to be over with.
Even on the specific question of moving Guantanamo prisoners to this specific prison at Thompson, Illinois, the most interesting fight is among conservatives, since groups like the American Conservative Union and Americans for Tax Reform are backing the plan, even as the lead Republicans in Congress denounce it in full hyperbole. Actually, fur hyperbole would be even funnier. The politicization of terrorism has always made for entertaining politics. But at this point, this is sort of starting to look like anarchist soccer. You know how you play anarchist soccer? It's 2 teams, 1 field, 3 goals. Go. Joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky of Illinois. She chairs the House Intelligence Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Congresswoman, thanks very much for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Rachel.
Given that both George Bush and John McCain wanted to close Guantanamo, how do you assess the outrage that we're seeing right now from Republican leaders on this?
There's somehow a calculation that the polling would indicate that this is a bad idea, that people are afraid. But if you look at the support that all of the local communities, and by the way, it's Duke. His nickname is Duke Hebler, or Hebler.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Duke.
Had actually requested, he put the request in to the governor to seek the Guantanamo prisoners to come. The city councils, the county boards, the local Republican state representative, all of the people in the town, the local business owners. There's enormous support for this. So I'm really not quite sure the political calculation, particularly that Illinois Republicans have made, like Mark Kirk, who's running for U.S. Senate.
I was going to ask about that because it would make sense to me. At least it would be intellectually coherent for people like John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, who have nothing to do with Illinois, to come out and sort of demagogue on this issue to make national politics out of something that is desired at the local level. Congressman Mark Kirk wants to be the next senator from Illinois. He's making a calculation that this is somehow going to help him win at least the primary, if not the Senate race. Sort of built his whole career, his whole campaign around this.
And actually, the editorial boards, not only in Chicago but around the state have pretty much excoriated him for the fear-mongering that he's done around this. And so I don't know what the political advantage that he sees in this.
Is this a done deal? What are the next steps for the Obama administration's plan to go through? I guess they instruct the Bureau of Prisons to buy the facility first, right?
Well, actually, the members of the Illinois delegation met with the head of the Bureau of Prisons as well as the Department of Homeland Security. It looks like the sale is going to go through. A lot of the details are still unclear as far as how many would actually be transferred to the Thompson Center, but it looks pretty much like a done deal, and there's a lot of excitement about that.
The economic impact certainly sorely needed in that corner of the state, I know.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 3,000 jobs, although 1,500 are going to be military personnel that will move to the area to actually guard the prisoners, but lots of local jobs have been promised, and certainly the stimulus to the economy there, which has over a 10% unemployment rate.
I want to ask you one other question, not on the Thompson situation, but on health reform. A bill that looks like the one that's going to probably pass the Senate, without expansion of Medicare, without a public option. Would that have trouble passing in the House?
Well, I certainly think that we're going to do everything we can to make some improvements in a conference committee or in some sort of an agreement with the Senate so that the bill that actually gets sent back to them looks better than the one that is being handed over to us. I mean, it is a huge disappointment in so many ways. I think we have to understand all the details. What is left that is really going to help control the cost of health care for average people and really get a handle on it. But right now, I think we have a lot of work to do. The problem that we face is there's 60 votes. No matter how you cut it, it has to go through a gauntlet of 60 votes in the Senate, and it's infuriating. It really is infuriating.
I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Very, very acutely. Very acutely. Illinois Congresswoman Jen Schakowsky, it's nice to have you here. Thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate it.